I've never really talked about this on my account before, but my grandmother was Joe Biden's neighbor for like 15 to 20 years in Greenville, Delaware, which is a suburb of Wilmington. Um, so my parents have been over to his house a number of times. They were invited to the inauguration of Obama and Biden in 2008. Yeah, they were neighbors for so long. My dad got help from Joe Biden navigating his student loans at one point. Like he gave him some connections and some people in his career. He just was very helpful to my parents and to my grandmother and was a good neighbor and just like a really decent family. So I bring this up because I just saw this interview that Hunter Biden, his son, did with Sean Ryan on his podcast. It was like kind of a right wing guy. And Sean Ryan said something super funny at the end to me. He said, I wasn't really expecting to like you as much as I do. And I thought to myself, that applies to Joe Biden too. Like, I don't. I don't think people realize like what a decent family they are, what a kind man Joe Biden is. Grounded, normal, average kind of guy. He grew up very middle class and that has never left him. He's just a really kind man. And that gets lost in all of this kind of crazy political stuff. And people, especially on the right, like to throw out these accusations about Joe Biden. And it's just, I just happen to know from my family that none of it is true. I guess I met him, but I don't remember. I was like 8 years old when he moved from that house. And then my grandma passed away in the early 2000s. So she obviously doesn't own that house anymore. And, it's been years and years. And I don't remember personally, but when I asked my parents, they're like, no, he's a really good guy, like just normal. And so, and here's Sean Ryan learning that in real time about Hunter Biden too. So I say this just to say, like, always remember that, especially in politics, there's an agenda behind, narratives that get spun. So, when you hear like, oh, Joe Biden is this and he's a demon and he's like all this stuff, it's just like, I don't know about anybody else, but I know as far as that one is concerned, that's not true. That's not true at all. He's a really decent guy. So just be careful with like the agendas that people have and why it is. Like, ask yourself why it is that they're trying so hard to get you to not like somebody, and do your due diligence, not just on their policy platforms for sure, but if you're going to be hearing these narratives about them personally, then you should try to learn from people who know these people what they're actually like in real life, because it really is a bunch of horseshit, honestly, that gets spun about a lot of people.